MEGACRYOMETEOR damage control. They hire William Shatner to do a documentary on megacryometeors. It's a pretty good documentary. I mean, obviously it doesn't tell you that there's a glass sky and there's a concave Earth, and that's where it's coming from. The glass sky at 100 kilometers high, but it's just kind of funny. At the end, they actually have this meteorologist, this gatekeeping meteorologist, who explains it away by saying that it's wind shear, meaning that the troposphere is pushing warm air up, and then right above that is the stratosphere, and it's pushing warm air down. And they're saying that these ice chunks are just kind of like by turbulence, they're just kind of just like bouncing up until they get heavy enough and they fall down. So he's saying they're formulating that way. And that's utter nonsense. The highest velocity, I just looked this up, in the thermosphere, not the thermosphere, the troposphere of wind, it's only like 60 kilometers. Or a little bit higher than that. Let's see. Oh, okay. Wind speed, it can go up to 85 knots, which is more like, 1 knot is like 1.151 miles per hour, so it's like maybe 95 knots. Are you kidding me? You're saying that, okay, let's say it's 100 miles per hour. 100 mile per hour wind is going to push up a 20-pound chunk of ice, or even greater than 20 pounds. I mean, we're talking like ice chunks the size of elephants. Really? They're desperate. They won't acknowledge the glass sky, the concave Earth. They're desperate. Anyway, sit back and watch this documentary with me. It's hilarious.
Now me, you, everyone we know is in mortal danger at all times from a mystery assailant who can strike at our homes at any time. You see, all over the world, unidentified objects have begun falling from clear blue skies with destructive and potentially fatal and very scary consequences. Come with me to the sleepy rural town of Brush, Colorado. Danielle Hagen was in the comfort of her own home when she was attacked.
This is my home behind me. Saturday morning, my daughter and I got up and were just doing normal Saturday morning relaxing kind of things. And I had gone to sit at the computer, which is just right outside the kitchen area. Kind of quiet, having the coffee, trying to wake up.
Relaxing at home, Danielle has no idea her Saturday morning calm is about to be shattered in the most terrifying and weird way.
So I was sitting about 3 feet outside the kitchen door when I heard a huge, what sounded like an explosion. And I got up, thought I was going to get up and look outside and see some horrific thing outside. I kind of turned to my left, which would have been towards the kitchen. And in that instant, the kitchen had been destroyed. I had beams hanging, ceiling had crashed in. Just unbelievable. And I was in shock, just speechless. I was too dumbfounded to be scared at that point. Immediately after the explosion, I think I was in too much shock to be scared. My daughter was hysterical. She came running out, screaming, crying. She couldn't get out of the house fast enough. And at that point, I was trying to decide if it was safe for us to be there. I didn't know if a gas line, something had happened, and if something else would explode. And I was basically in shock. I really didn't know what to do at that point.
Initially, Danielle thinks it was caused by an exploded gas line, but when an inspector surveys the damage, its extraordinary origins are revealed.
The guy said, you know, you didn't have an explosion out, but you had something crash through. As we started looking around the kitchen is when we first saw this huge chunk of ice, about the size of a bowling ball.
A huge ball of ice weighing about 20 pounds had crashed into Danielle's home.
When I saw the large chunk of ice, I didn't immediately connect it with anything having crashed through. It was just, oh, how odd. You know, why would there be ice in the middle of all this rubble in the kitchen? So I didn't immediately put it together. It was after the fire department came and the gentleman from the gas company that we all started piecing things together.
Ice? But ice is our friend. We skate on it. We put it in our drinks. We use it to help relieve injured muscles. But no, this ice was not nice. It was huge, just like this one, weighing about 20 pounds. Imagine this crashing through your ceiling. So where in heaven's name did a piece of ice this size come from? Basketball-sized piece of ice. Maybe Shaq O'Neal finally made a free throw. To answer that question, I'm going to need some help. Some friends of mine, researchers at the Texas Tech, are going to see what kind of damage ice can do. How are they going to do this? With a huge cannon, of course.
Today we're going to shoot some ice.
Sounds like fun, but let's get on with it. In their first test, they're going to shoot a 5-pound ice chunk at its terminal velocity. That's the fastest speed that an object can fall through the air. For a 5-pound chunk, the terminal velocity is about 110 miles per hour. This is going to simulate the speed of a ball of ice the size of a melon falling from at least 2,000 feet.
Clear. 3, 2, 1.
Well, look at that. It went right through like a bullet. Let's see that again in slow motion. I've always wanted to say that. So we've confirmed that a falling chunk of ice can rip through the roof of a house, but this is nowhere near the destruction seen in Donnell's roof. It is estimated that a ball of ice the size of a basketball, like the one that hit Donnell's house, would have likely been traveling at a terminal velocity of approximately 150 miles per hour. But the test is only a partial success because we're not able to calculate from what height the ball of ice actually fell. To determine this, we'll need more clues. The most likely suspect, you might think, is this stuff: hail. Frozen water droplets that form in thunderstorm clouds up to 70,000 feet high and have been known to do some serious damage. Like here in Edmonton, Canada, where in 2007, hail the size of baseballs smashed down from dark, heavy clouds onto residential areas. But 700 miles away in Vancouver, a sky filled with thunderstorm clouds isn't exactly what Chris Drab remembers when a huge ice bomb crunched into his neighborhood in 2009.
This was undoubtedly the strangest and most fascinating thing I've ever seen in my life. It was a very hot, sunny, bright Friday afternoon, and I was mowing my lawn, and I hear what was a loud noise, like an artillery shell or something thundering. And I look up in the sky, and I see something falling at incredible velocity. I could see coming down this direction here what looked like a large chunk of rock or a large chunk of something, you know, trailing a plume of white debris or smoke after it. I didn't know what to think of it. It didn't compute because the sky was sunny, it was hot, there wasn't a cloud in the sky.
Just like the case of Donnell Hagen, Drab's ice bombs came from seemingly nowhere on a perfectly calm and sunny afternoon, meaning it can't be hail. Weirder and weirder. Okay, where else could it be coming from? Here's a clue. Donnell's house happens to also be in the approaching flight path of a major airport. Coincidence? Could the world of aviation be responsible for these mysterious ice bombs? As commercial pilot Stuart McCaskill knows, the aviation industry has problems of its own with ice.
There's been a lot of accidents because of icing on airplanes. So now icing and flying in icing is of a huge importance and a #1 item in all of aviation.
Right, so ice builds up on the aircraft in two ways: on the ground or in flight. Flight icing occurs when a plane flies through a cloud filled with tiny droplets of supercooled water that freezes upon impact.
For ice to form on a wing, you need supercool water droplets. As ice builds up, it doesn't conform to the wing. It's all over the place, and you can get varying degrees of aerodynamic instability. So it's a weight thing. You're destroying the lift.
Yeah, there is no doubt ice can be a major problem. That's why the aviation industry has developed sophisticated anti-icing equipment. So we've looked at the wheel well, we've looked at the wing. Yeah, a shiny nose, I'm sorry. But is there any place left on the plane we still haven't looked? Oh no. Could the urban legend of airplanes letting go of their frozen toilet waste in midair actually be true? Is it possible that the 20-pound ice chunk that fell from the sky and destroyed Denell Hagen's kitchen originated in the lavatory of a passing commercial airliner?
An aircraft system is just the same as an RV system in that it is self-contained. This is the access panel for the lav service, and it's serviced on the ground, in flight, not accessible, and any seepage from this area in flight would be minuscule and certainly would not lead to any ice buildup that would fall from the airplane. I can't imagine where this sort of ice formation would take place, or anything of this size, on an airplane and then jettison itself and fall to the earth. I really can't imagine how that might happen.
Okay, this is getting spooky. If it's not hail, and it's not from an aircraft, maybe we need to go higher still to find the source of these killer ice bombs. Could the culprit be from outer space? Take comets. Comets are made of rock, dust, frozen gases, and, you guessed it, ice. Ice that vaporizes to resemble a tail as they approach the sun. The scary part? Sometimes they smash into planets, like in 1994 when a fragment from Comet B. Shoemaker, Levy 9, collided with Jupiter, releasing a frightening energy equivalent to 6 million megatons of TNT. But, as astronomer Robert Stenzel knows, the Earth has a natural defense system to help protect us from similar disasters.
What we anticipate happens when comets encounter the Earth's atmosphere is that they heat up in a hurry, and 99.999% of that would vaporize before they reach the ground.
So could the ball of ice that destroyed Denell Hagen's kitchen have been the surviving remnant of a comet?
For something to survive to the ground and still be the size of a basketball, it would probably have to be of order 1 million times larger.
And that's the problem. In a world that constantly watches the skies, would a comet 160 miles across, plummeting through space towards us, go unnoticed? I hope not. So, we checked out hail, we checked out the plane, we checked out the bathroom, and we checked up in space. Where else is there left to look? Meet meteorologist David Jones. He has a theory that we are dealing with a whole new kind of weather phenomena that puts us all in potential danger.
They're not cosmic, they're not from space. And the theory is that these great chunks of ice form very high in the upper atmosphere, above the level where most of normal day-to-day weather occurs.
Okay.
Well, that part is true. Very high, but much higher than what he thinks. Let's go on.
This is where we need a good old-fashioned 6th grade science lesson. It's right here in the boundary region between the moist upper troposphere and the cold lower stratosphere where Jones believes the process of ice crystal formation starts. Wind shear, caused by the mixing of warm and cold air, creates powerful turbulence that is strong enough to keep ice bombs aloft as they grow.
I'll think of like a vacuum cleaner, okay? You ever do that with a ping pong ball? Like when you reverse the current in the vacuum so it's actually blowing outward. On my old vacuum cleaners, I could do that. But you can actually like balance a ping pong ball on the vacuum that's pushing the air blowing out. So it's like, but the air, what is that, maybe like 10, 15 miles per hour or something like that. But the ping pong ball is so light. Okay, we're talking, okay, this in this video, 20 pounds. But in other cases, 1,500 pounds. So wind shear, he says wind shear. And turbulence of the wind shear is actually keeping these ice bombs afloat. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. This guy David Jones is just another shill. Just another pseudo-scientific, pseudo-intellectual shill.
And the growth of those ice crystals is supported by the turbulence. And the turbulence in this very moist air allows the crystals to grow, somewhat like hailstones do, until they're so heavy that the strong winds can't support them and they fall to the ground.
That is so idiotic. Until they're so heavy? Until they're so heavy? Yeah, maybe if they were like 20 ounces. No.
Wait a minute. What are these?
They would start falling a lot sooner than 20 pounds or 1,500. See, they don't even mention that, do they? 1,500 pound block of ice. 1,000 pound block of ice fell in Croatia like a year and a half ago. You trying to tell me that wind shear within the stratosphere and the troposphere is going to bob this block, this bomb of ice, this huge, heavy chunk of ice? No. I'll tell you. Well, let's finish the video and then I'll tell you.
Mutant ice monsters called, I'll tell you, MEGACRYOMETEORS? Jeez, I'm sorry, guy. I'll get it right next time when there's no airplane.
There's nothing wet, I promise you.
So what are these mutant ice monsters called? I'll tell you.
MEGACRYOMETEOR. Mega meaning large, cryo meaning ice, and meteor meaning of atmospheric origin.
That fucking idiot thinks he's so full of himself. I know the answer. It's wind shear. You fucking clown. I'm going to shame the fuck out of you. The hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies. The earth is concave and there is a glass ceiling to the sky, and that is where the ice is attached to. It's very simple. That's why they are spraying the skies. Now watch this. At the end of the video, they're saying that these ice bombs are falling more frequently. That's why they're spraying the skies, guys, especially over metro areas. The man-made heat is generating. It's rising. They need to protect the metro areas from these ice chunks that are falling down from the top of the glass sky. One is for the safety concerns, also is to keep it hidden, to keep it suppressed, so you don't realize that you're living in the earth and there's a glass sky and there's destruction that's going to happen very soon when the sun stops, because the earth is stationary. When the sun stops, all the ice that's connected to the glass sky will unravel like a scroll, just like prophecy says. That's why we have deep underground shelters. Come on, people, listen to me. Wake up. I'm here to help you, educate you, so for your safety.
Frighteningly, reports of these MEGACRYOMETEORs seem to be on the increase. In 2007, for example, a resident of Tampa, Florida, was working on his red-hot Ford Mustang when suddenly it got iced by a chunk the size of a basketball. Yikes! It struck with so much force, the roof was completely flattened, and the heavy sports car bounced 4 feet off the ground.
Since about 1950, there have been about 100 verifiable reports of these ice chunks falling from clear blue sky. Since about 2001, there's been well over 50 of these events reported.
And that, according to many scientists, is because MEGACRYOMETEORs might be yet another consequence of global warming, increasing the levels of warm air that reach the stratosphere.
So, megacriometeor falls have been happening on the increase, more and more. What's that tell you? That chemtrails are necessary to keep the ice from falling down. Metropolitan areas are generating heat, right? On the increase. Global warming is actually true. The hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies. Okay? Don't listen to these retard clowns. The disinformation, gatekeeping, suppressing information of the facts that the Earth is concave and there's a glass sky at 100 kilometers high and there's ice attached to that glass. It's very simple. The ice is falling, it's melting, it's falling, it's cracking, it's falling down. There's no way wind turbulence, wind shear can uphold a 20-pound block of ice, let alone a 5-pound block of ice. There's no way. Let alone a 1,500-pound block of ice. Don't listen to the shills. Don't listen to the bullshit artists. Don't be indoctrinated. I tell you the truth. Listen to me. I'm the Messiah, and destruction is going to come because the sun is actually orbiting inside the Earth. There's no rotation for the Earth. When the sun stops, the final day and the final hour will happen, and the sky will unravel like a scroll, just like prophecy says, Isaiah chapter 34, verse 4. It's going to happen, guys. I'm the Messiah. I'm trying to help you people. Listen to me, okay? Listen to me. Pretty soon martial law is going to be implemented. We have to go underground. As a world, we need to go take safety underground. Don't be stupid. Don't be a dum-dum and not listen to me, okay? Wise up, guys. Peace out.